Good morning, everyone. So I'm really proud of the 7 students who have already logged on and tried their best to answer these questions. So first of all, I know it's a more of a difficult text and it's kind of boring, but I just want you guys to really do your best on this. And I'm going to go over some of these questions just to help you a little bit because I think we were a little confused. And it's completely understandable. So I just want you guys to use this to help you. So for number 1, it asks you to look at paragraph 3 and asks what it implies about Mrs. Lapidus. So I'm going to go right here to paragraph 3, and I'm just going to highlight a few things about Mrs. Lapidus because I'm trying to analyze her character. So thank you to the STAR test for making it all nice and bold right there for me. Candace Lapidus, Mrs. Lapidus, what is something she does, an action, is she assures Ashoke that missing the first week of kindergarten is not a problem. It tells us that she is a tall, slender woman with short white blonde hair. That's what she looks like, but it doesn't really tell us much about who she is. The first thing that she tells them is that there are 2 other Indian children at school. And I want you guys to think, why would that come into her head as she talks to this Indian family? I want you guys to imagine if you are from another country and you come to a new school and they immediately assume or think or make a connection between you and just any other random person from that country. What does that show you about their character? And she says, maybe you know them. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at Mrs. Lapidus's actions and think, what does that tell you about her? Something really important that you learn about her in that paragraph. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is in paragraph 26 and asks you about Ashoke. So if I don't remember who that is, I'm going to go back up to the top here where it says these are Gogol's parents. So Ashoke is Gogol's dad. So I'm going to go down to paragraph 26. And it's he. So I'm going to look at the actions of the character. He bends down and says in Bengali, which is their native language, he says it calmly and quietly. So he's like, Gogol, please answer when Mrs. Lapidus asks a question. He says, don't be scared. So he's encouraging him, but then he also says, you're a big boy now, no tears. I want you to think, what is the expectation of the dad for his kid? Because he said both, oh, don't be scared, but also toughen up. So which of these words make it seem that he is nice, but also a tough love kind of guy? Number 3 asks you to pick a quotation that foreshadows, and remember, foreshadowing has to do with the future. So this question is telling you that eventually they're going to allow Gogol to use his real name. So in the future, at the end of the story, he's going to go by Gogol like he likes instead of Nikhil. So I'm going to look at just the quotes over here and see, though Mrs. Lapidus does not understand a word, she listens carefully, hears that name again, Gogol, and then lightly writes it down in pencil. So she's thinking, Gogol might be his name, but she's not sure about it. The second option, which is what a lot of you guys chose, is Gogol looks down at his sneakers because of the way that the principal says his new name. So I want you to think, what does that tell you about the character if he's looking down at his sneakers? It's showing you how he feels about his new name, but it's not showing you how he feels about Gogol. So if you guys are using this, I'm giving you a clue about what is not the right answer. I just wanted to address that second one that I saw a lot of students choosing. Number 4 talks about the figurative language in this sentence, which is in paragraph 1. So I'm going to go back up to paragraph 1. And remember, it's asking what does it reveal? It's not asking you to identify what it is. It's asking why the author used it. So we are going to figure out what it is first. So she goes over here, and it's right here. She told him she liked it well enough. She'd wept. The letter forever hovering, containing the good name she'd chosen for Gogol. So the she, I'm going to go all the way back up to Ashima. So the mom thinks about her grandmother and the letter that her grandmother sent. And the letter is described as forever hovering, which means like floating somewhere between India and America. So it's not in India and it's not in America. Whenever you mail things across an ocean, sometimes it doesn't get there, which means it's not in India, it's not in America. What happened to that letter? What is this quote trying to tell you about the letter? And anytime, obviously, when you guys are watching this, remember you can pause so that you can go and answer some questions and then come back to my screencast and get some help for the next question. Number 5 is about the description of the setting, and it's suggesting something about Gogol. It says will, which means the future. So this last paragraph is telling you something that will happen to Gogol in the future. So I'm going to go to the last paragraph and look at the setting, which is where he is and what's going on. So we know that he is writing his name. We know that she takes Gogol by the hand down a carpeted hallway with painted cement walls. His teacher is a woman with hair in 2 braids. In the classroom, everyone has a nickname. It says it is nothing like the schooling of Gogol's parents. So Gogol's parents are from a time when everybody had fountain pens and polished black shoes. But it is nothing like fountain pens and polished black shoes. So it's not a fancy education. It's a little bit more casual and comfortable because everyone has a nickname. We're all just hanging out. This lady is dressed kind of funny. The only official ritual is pledging allegiance to the flag. So they only have one ritual. Everything else is very loose and they just hang out. They drink punch and eat cookies, and they take naps, and he's got this letter, and they know that he prefers to be known as Gogol. So I want you guys to look at the answer choices. If he is in a casual environment, do you think he's going to keep feeling anxious? Do you think he will have trouble fitting in? Do you think he will change his mind? So right now, in this paragraph, he wants to be called Gogol. Do you think he's going to change his mind about being called Gogol? Or do you think he'll become comfortable with his class? What does that suggest the most? All right. And then the last question asks you to look at the descriptions of Mrs. Lapidus and Gogol in paragraph 3. We already kind of looked at that. And it asks for you to find a contrast. So remember, there's a difference. And a lot of you guys did really well on that, but I want you guys to focus on what this question wants you to focus. So I'm going to go back up to paragraph 3, and I see, so Mrs. Lapidus, she's a tall, slender woman. She's got short, white, blonde hair. She's got eyeshadow and a suit. But the boy is in powder blue pants, red and white canvas sneakers, and a striped turtleneck top. If you guys think about the difference between a yellow suit and just a red and white sneakers and a regular top and pants, what does that make you see between the woman and the boy? Make sure you're focusing on the descriptions they choose to tell you right there. Don't focus on the fact that she asks the question about the other Indian kids, or anything else. We're only focusing on what she looks like and what he looks like at this point, none of their emotions. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you guys ask me questions in the future whenever you're having a hard time, because I really want to keep on helping you throughout the rest of the year. All right, thank you guys, and I hopefully will talk to you again soon. Bye.